found healing and peace encompassed in your love. You know my inner thoughts. You speak and my heart finds rest. No other place, no other love.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity tonight. It's a night I've been waiting for. I told you I'm going to invite somebody. I would say she's controversial, but you'll hear as we talk, as we move on. I've known this lady, Jacinta Ngobese, as one of the young people that I've met a couple of years ago. I've been inviting her all the time in church to motivate the young people because I saw a certain passion in her and a way of looking at things and understanding things. As you have known and I've said, Gutu Jacinta is a media personnel, is a radio person, is a leader. I'm sure she's not used to this thing of being interviewed. Yes. And then today I've said, I'm sitting this side, but I'm not going to prepare any questions because we are going to talk. First of all, I do want Jacinta to tell us who she is briefly. I will be interjecting because I know Jacinta somehow, somewhere, and we'll be moving with our talk. Jacinta, welcome tonight to eThekwini Community Church, Facebook and YouTube. But at the end of the day, there are two things that Jacinta is going to make. One is going to motivate you on how she has been able to stand and make it at this time. And lastly, a message to all of us and politicians out there. Corruption, corruption, corruption. We'll talk about that. But for now, let me give you an opportunity. Jacinta Ngobese, you're welcome. Who are you? Just tell Aba Laleli and Aba Bugele Makai.
Thank you so much, Fundis, and thank you for always inviting me. Like you said, Fundis Tube has been inviting me to church for years now.
So,
I'm saying Ghana actually in the industry. So I'm Jacinta Ngobese. I'm a young lady. I am a radio personality. I'm a blogger. I'm a business person, I'd like to believe. I am a community worker. I like to call myself that because I do a lot of work in my community, Wamashu. And I think for me, that is the most fulfilling thing that I do in my life in general. I am a mentor to a couple of young girls as well. I'm an event organizer, I'm an MC, I used to be a writer for Isolezo as well. I do a lot of things. I forget some of the things that I do, but yeah, I do a lot.
Well, it's quite interesting to have somebody who is an all-rounder like Jacinta. You say you do a lot of community work. You are a young black woman. What makes you to do community work? Because community work, in there, you are trying to assist people, you are feeding them. Yeah. I remember one time you had a function in Vaitaguyo where walking from Phoenix to Kwamashu.
Yes.
Can you cite a bit about that? Because I saw a lot of young people there.
So the thing about being a community person is that you have to really be passionate about it because it's something that you're not going to get thanked or rewarded for.
Okay.
And it's not something that you go around posting about. It's really something that just happens because of a passion. So the event that you're talking about is the We Are One Festival. So it's something I'm really proud of. It's really about fostering relationships between our communities in the pink area, which is Phoenix, Inani, and Tuzo, Magwamashu, and now has included in Newlands as well. Now, why is it important to our communities? Because there's different races. There's the Indian community, there's the black community, and the colored community. And in proximity, it is very close to each other, but we hardly ever interact, like ever, because of boundaries that have been set there in the past. And there's this perception that Mogamashu people must be scared. Okay. So we're like, why? Because there's nothing to be scared of. Umashu is a community like any other. There's good things about it, there's bad things about it, but really we want to highlight the good things about Umashu as well, and Dinanda and Intuzuma and Phoenix as well. So,
but again, Jacinta, in your life, there's this Gogo effect. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Now and again, there's a Gogo coming in. I want to know.
gosh.
I want to know that the Gogo effect. How does Gogo feature in your life? Because I think she does.
It's a spiritual thing. I think ngakhuliswa nje ngingane yagogo.
Right.
And in my life, I've been told that I'm wise beyond my age. So I've got the Gogo effect that you're talking about. So it's something that's God-given, I believe. It's not something that I try. It's not something that I do. I love old people. I love children. Those are the two things nje in my life that are meaningful. So ugogo nje for me, ngiye ngibone abantu abahlukumeza abantu abadala, and it never makes sense to me.
All right.
Because I mean, that's where you get your blessings. That's where you get your knowledge. That's where you get everything about who and what you are. So much so that I even researched about my granny's mother as well, just to uba naleyo connection with her. Who was she? What did she do? Yeah, what did she like?
But Jacinta, young people like you do not think about that. Don't you think that is what has caused you to be a caring person, taking care of the community, that element of studying the life about the elderly people, what you do say to other, because you are in Durban here. Jacinta invited you to this church to talk to young people. When they come to Durban, they forget about who they are, where they come from, and then they just disappear in life. What could you say?
I think every time I'm here, when you invite me, there's only one thing that I always highlight. It's choice. We as now, I always say, it's in life, you choose. You choose who you're going to be. You choose the legacy you're going to leave behind. You choose what you want people to think of you, and you choose your future. So if a lot of young people do this thing of saying, I'm going to do things because it's my youth.
Yeah.
And along the way, I'm going to learn.
Okay.
So I've kind of, for me, sometimes that's a bit of an escape from the truth, because
From the reality.
we can't always learn from our mistakes that we make. Sometimes we have to learn from mistakes that others make and say, you know what, Ish, I'm not going to go down that path. And yes, you're going to make your own mistakes, obviously, but there are some parts that you know are going to lead you towards, it's like taking drugs, for example.
Yeah.
Nobody takes drugs and expects to be
No money.
an award-winning producer like myself.
All right. Okay. I will come to that one, Jacinta, because, your life is seriously balanced. One time you win an award of being the best producer.
Yes.
On the other side, the people that you have won the award for are kicking you out of job. How do you balance things like that? Because that's the part again that I saw you crying, and I looked at you. I said, I want to see if she's going to rise again.
You remember?
Yes.
I was here. I was here that time.
Yes.
So weird, because that day when I got the call about the story going in the newspaper, you had invited me to church.
Yes.
And I spoke to the young people here, and I was like, I just got a call that I've lost my job, and they're going to write the story on Sunday. I was here. I remember that very well. And all I said was, whatever must happen, must happen. And Ngobusha, everyone at that time was kind of writing you off. When people write you off in Fundisi, you used to be on, you're no longer relevant now. And then you kind of have to sustain yourself.
Okay.
You have to keep yourself within yourself, because you can't lose yourself every time something bad happens in your life. You absolutely can't allow yourself to go down, because once you go down, the further down you go, the more difficult it becomes to rise up.
So are you saying to me, you sound like a person who has failed before? You have failed before, but what has made you rise again? That's the element I want to glide on before we move to the...
Yes. I think for me, Mfundisi, I wouldn't call it failure. I'd say, I have been in difficult situations.
Wow.
I overcame them, therefore I didn't fail. Because I rose above them, so I was above the situation. The situation didn't become above me. And the only way I managed to do that is to tell myself that it's not the end of me. And it's so weird, because my greatest motivation is negativity.
Okay.
So the time when people are negative and the time they put more pressure on me to kind of go down is when I work harder.
Would you regard yourself as a person who has faith?
Beyond.
Okay.
Beyond faith. I think for me, I live by faith, and sometimes I didn't understand what faith meant because there were times where you just like, what am I doing in this world if God, the only thing you keep bringing is problems and problems. But that's when you come to understand what faith is, when the next day gives you an opportunity that the day before didn't have.
Yep.
And then you like take this small opportunity, just the small opportunity from this day and build from it. I believe that is what faith is, because you don't know what the next day has to offer.
What do you say to a young girl who comes to you and say, I'm tired of life, I think what is good for me is to die?
I get those inboxes every week of women who are saying, look, I'm tired of life. And I've never had a situation where I'm not able to get someone out of that situation, because it's a mind thing.
Okay.
Once your mind tells you it's over, it's over.
Okay. We in a women's month. We come from a men's month. Do you really think men are giving opportunity to women to grow? Let's come to that point. What do you think? Do we allow you as women to grow?
I think I have a problem with the fact that men are even allowed to allow us anything.
Oh, okay.
Like, why should men allow us an opportunity to grow? Why?
Okay.
Or like, who are men to women?
Okay.
I mean, are we not the ones that bring you onto this earth? Are we not the ones that nurture? Are we not the ones that build? Any man in this world would be lying.
Okay.
Would be lying.
But how come now this myth of men being up front and women being behind? And you have spoken much about issues like that, and I want to get your understanding. How do you address the issue of women who always see themselves as backbenchers? Look, in South Africa, when you have to choose a president, I'm definitely sure women will choose a man.
It's two
When it
things.
comes to church, you'll also always
man.
see a man in front.
Yeah.
When you go to a factory that is 90% women, but again, you say, is it not your problem as women that you have a tendency of not wanting to take the upfront and you are pulling each other down?
It's two things. That is one of them, where women are our biggest, we are each other's biggest enemies.
Okay.
It's very difficult to get support from Ndusfazane. And I speak about this a lot because, I mean, I've come to a point where I don't expect anything from anyone. Whether you're a woman or a man, if you don't support me, I can't expect you to do that. You don't owe me that. It's really up to me to do whatever I need to do to get to wherever I need to go. Secondly, it's a historical thing. If it's going to take years. If an supremacy, the white supremacy mentality has been there for so long that it even affects a black person. For you to think a white person is superior than you. You understand? You already think a white person is superior by virtue of seeing a white person.
And you can't imagine a situation like
exactly, as if something is wrong with nature. You know what I mean? So there are those things that we have been so used to for centuries and centuries that undoing them becomes very difficult. And the gender balance is one of them, because there's been this mentality that men are supposed to rule for so long that it's going to be very difficult for us to claim our place. It's something that we really have to be patient with, to do right as women. Must a position of power. Don't now, I mean, we can't take 10 steps back and then come back Jacinta as always, and then they're going to say, then it takes us another 15 steps back.
Do they do that?
Yes,
women?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right, if they do that, would you blame men by not affording, now that gets there, an opportunity to women to lead? Because once you give them an opportunity, then they begin to think of themselves, then they begin to to want to lead in their own way. What can you say? I want you to
So
get
you
into that
still,
one.
I'm still asking, why should a man afford me an opportunity to lead?
Because when
Why
you
is it your prerogative?
because
to,
when
to
you are
allow
given
me
an
to lead?
opportunity to lead, and then you are saying, then the woman will sort of not support the other woman.
No, I'm saying I have a right as much as you do to lead a church.
Right.
I have a right as much as you do to lead people. I don't believe umfundisi should be the one affording me that opportunity. I think by virtue of my work ethic, my leadership skills, my knowledge, my this and that, I should automatically be leading. Why does my gender have to come into play and you have to afford me the opportunity? I don't understand.
But it's the women who do not want to take the center stage.
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not all women. For me,
Right.
I feel like there's this thing where men, when they see a woman who's strong, yabo,
Yeah.
they don't want you to lead.
Okay.
Because they know, ukuthi, yabo masingalid Jacinta.
Yeah.
Aye.
Ungafeel.
Ipower yethu ingancipha njengamadoda. So let's take Princess over there.
Yeah.
Because Princess is going to listen to whatever we say as men.
Okay.
And the Princess is going to do whatever we say.
Okay.
So it becomes more comfortable to put someone who is, I don't want to use the word weaker.
All right.
But in this case, I'm going to use it. But like finding a woman who's going to be more prone to whatever decisions are taken by men, because she doesn't want to challenge the status quo.
Okay.
It makes it easier to have someone like that who's leading.
So you are saying, is it your desire to put the mentality and the idea that you are putting to a lot of women to begin to think like you?
I think there already are a lot of women who think like me. I think the one thing that probably I'd say that I probably feel a lot of women need to have is courage.
Okay.
We need to be more brave. We really need to be more brave, because when dealing with men, you can't think you're going to wake up in the morning and a man has already accepted you as a leader.
So are you saying there's a fight?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. How are you going to win that one?
It's really simple. It's doing what you have to do. Do it right. Do it precise. And always, I believe, always uplift people behind you. And when people are uplifted, it becomes easier for them to support you.
Okay.
And you're uplifting people not because you're uplifting people based on whatever skills and whatever strengths that they have. So if I know Jacinta is a strong diver, I have to empower her to improve in whatever that she does,
right,
so that her strength is going to uplift me as a leader, because now I've got someone to point at and say, there's so and so is uplifting 10 other people, and 10 other people are uplifting 30 other people.
Okay.
So it becomes like a
pyramid.
Yes.
But amongst the people, amongst the ladies that you look upon to, is Nomusa Dube. Why is she your mentor and your role model?
I could write a book, because when I choose role models, I don't look for a perfect product. Okay. I don't believe there's anybody who's perfect. But there's a certain thing, I believe in energies.
Right.
I just connect with people who are strong.
Okay.
I just connect with women who are brave. I just connect with women who fight for things to change.
Right.
And Nomusa Dube is one of those women. I believe there's something about her aura that says, I'm not fighting, but I'm fighting.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where she just does her work. She's in her own space. And everyone else behind her is being empowered. So I know how much she believes in empowering young women, and I've seen it in action. And that's the kind of leaders that I look up to. Women who can say, Guti, I am in a position right now. I'm not empowering you, Jacinta, because I think, Guti, I know you or you've got access to me.
Okay.
I'm empowering you because I know, Guti, you're brilliant at that.
Wow. So do you think, Jacinta, the men in position are using the abusive nature, they are using the sexual orientation in getting women into position? Do you believe that we as men are using sex to promote women?
Sure. I think there's very few men who can say they're empowering women and expect nothing in return.
You
Very
say
few.
there are very few.
Very few.
Men out there,
Very.
Jacinta says,
Quote me, Mfundisi.
there are men, very few, but who can take a woman and allow her a position or ascend to any position without asking for sex.
Yes.
Is that what you are saying?
Without expecting anything.
Without expecting anything.
Yes, there's mostly always an expectation with men. It starts with the small things. It's like, for example, mawazi ukuthi uzongithengela a drink at the bar.
Okay.
I need to automatically, we've got lots of rape cases that come because
Right.
a man automatically expects that if I buy you a drink, then that means that you're
In
mine
return.
for the night. You understand? This is a mentality thing. It's
Okay.
already there in your mind because you're so used to it.
So who is used to it? Men, women?
Men. I think there are women who are enablers in every situation where a man is a problem. There are women who are enablers of that action. Because there are women who are comfortable with being bought for a drink.
All right.
But I'm not.
All right.
So as a man, when you go to Precious again, and Precious is okay with buying a drink and then hambe, then you come back the next night and you think, Jacinta is going to be the same. But Jacinta is not Precious. But you don't understand that as a man because you're so used to it being easy for you to get through women who enable your behavior. So that's what I believe. I believe even when talking about power, there are women who are enablers, like I say, who will say, I will sleep with you because I'm how I get there.
Okay.
As long as I get there.
So for me, why would you say it's men? Because it's women who allow themselves and say, well, because I want this position, let me do this. Why then would you blame it on men?
You see, Mfundisi, this is the problem I have with most issues that have men inside. Very little responsibility is taken by abantu besilisa about anything. It's the same when men are dating younger girls. But I didn't force her. But you're older. Who has the greater responsibility between the two? When? So let's talk about a man who's got money.
Okay.
And there's a girl, Oshupegai.
All right.
Automatically, you're in a position that is superior to her, that is going to control the narrative of her decisions, because you've got something that she needs that she doesn't have. So automatically, gubalula for her to enable whatever actions that you take. But if you are a responsible man, why not say, okay, so you need money, I'll help you get through school without you having to give me anything.
But
which is something that's very rare with men.
This is the thing that you are saying, and you keep on repeating it. There are few men. How do you rate that? What analysis have you done to say?
I don't have a study.
Yes,
I don't have a study, and I haven't researched this. But
yes.
You know when you have a general problem in society, gender-based violence,
right.
The statistics will support whatever it is that I'm saying.
Okay.
If we have a problem of abusive men, that already should tell you that majority of men are abusive.
You see, that's another thing, Jacinta, I want us to go through before I move to the next one. You see, I was listening to some program, on Zoom, and somebody says there is abuse out there. Women are being abused. And then he uses this word, we abuse women. We must own this. Why should we own something that we do not do? Why should Mina Vostuba, I own something that I do not do, and then make a perception that men are abusive, men are trash? I am not trash. I am not abusive. Why should we then conclude that I'm a daughter? But why?
If it's a general problem that's affecting the country and you have daughters, you've got a responsibility to take action. Because if you're not a bad man, your daughter could land up with a bad man because you didn't do anything about it. Because you are saying, I'm a good man. But how do you guarantee that all the bad men out there don't land up with your daughter?
But
how do you guarantee that?
But can't you encourage that, as Mandela would say, that good people must arise? Because also the Bible says so. If good people are quiet, are not doing anything,
exactly,
then the assumption would be. But I believe that we should brand more good men and speak about good men and not assume that.
But the majority is not good. So how do you brand the majority of something when it's actually just the minority that's
So you are
that's
saying
good?
you are saying we've got a minority of good men.
Yes.
And a lot of men are bad.
And I'm saying the minority is so quiet that the majority is making the most noise. So yes, you've got a problem.
Are you saying, in South Africa we speak about, I'm not defending anybody. In South Africa we speak about men being abusive.
Yes.
But you go outside here, outside the street, starting from down the road, up the road, how many men do you see outside there abusing women? Just outside.
There's a lot.
I mean, we are men in the street. You see a lot of men walking up and down the street. Then are you going to say there is abuse happening here because something that you have not seen?
But
and then
listen, you
Yes.
see the thing with abuse is that I think very few women will not have experienced it,
Okay.
which is why it's a problem.
All right.
Because if very few women in South Africa don't feel safe in the country because they've been harassed at work, it doesn't have to be in the relationship. It can
Okay.
be at work.
All right.
It's being harassed.
Okay.
It's being touched when you're walking on the road. It's when you're dressed
Is
in a
that not
certain
culture?
way. No. There's a limit to what
Okay.
culture is
All right.
and what abuse is.
Okay.
And when someone makes you feel uncomfortable about the way you're dressed and so forth, then it's something that you as a man cannot say that you understand because
Okay.
you've never experienced it.
All
And
right.
you don't know how it makes me feel as a woman. Therefore, you take it for granted ukuthi le nto yenzayo is okay. And then if majority of South African women are saying, listen, I have experienced abuse, especially from a young children. Like, I don't know how many girls that I know have been raped or molested.
Who have also
have
opened
been.
up to you.
Yes.
Yes, which is
and,
good.
And like, I don't even want to go into detail about that because it's a chapter that I'm not willing to open yet in my life. But I know, Wuti, almost every single woman out there, almost every single one has had an experience of rape and abuse. And that is a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I did say that she is a voice of reason, and she talks about things that other people may not talk about. Jacinta, we have had a problem here. We do have a problem at the moment in South Africa, especially the young people. Young people are saying they are not employed, young people are being ostracized, young people are this and this. What would you say as a voice for young people? Is South Africa really not prepared for young people?
Sure. I think our problems are way bigger than just youth age.
Okay.
I think our problems are big even now. If we sit back and you look at things that we learned in school, that's why we must learn how to label a frog or whatever. And then you ask yourself, what was I going to use that for in my life?
In future.
To label a frog. You know what I mean? And some of the things that you sit and you practically ask yourself, wow. And you can't apply that in life now.
Wow.
So our problems go back to childhood.
Okay.
When we were still being taught things in school that we didn't know how to apply in life.
Wow.
What are we learning in school? Like really practically, what are we learning?
Are you saying, why should I spend these 12 years of my life?
Why?
And then immediately I go to university, I start something new altogether.
And then I study.
And then when I finish there,
I look for a job.
I look for a
and
job
then
that has nothing to do with my 15 years.
Besides, if I don't get a job, what's my next plan?
Wow.
Other countries, you see, if you sit and I always am in awe of China because even Nigeria is where they teach children practical things.
Okay.
Or robotics. How many children are doing robotics in South Africa? But we know we're moving into 4G. We haven't even implemented with 3G, but we're saying 5G.
Okay, are you saying then our system of education is lacking?
For me, that is our biggest problem as a country.
Okay.
Before we even get to societal problems, because you can't address a 12-year problem.
All right.
You know what I mean? How do you teach me to be an entrepreneur after matric if I've never learned it during my schooling years?
right.
And then I go to university, I sit there for 3-4 years. I'm a practical nakhona. Oh, I mean, it's theory nakhona. Then when it's time to apply practicals, then what? And then some of the courses that were offered in universities and I'm a degree, you ask yourself, what am I going to do? Like, my degree, for example, business management, and there's no business to manage.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
What are we being taught? Is my biggest concern, because I feel like we're not starting correct. The foundation is not correct.
All right.
So if the foundation is not correct, you can't address the problem at high level.
Okay.
We need to fix it from the bottom.
So do you think we do have a solution?
Solution is to start from going back to school. Our education system needs to be sorted out. How many times did we change the curriculum from more OBE to what? Because we don't know what we're doing.
Okay.
We go to all of these other countries, we see, and this is working in Germany.
Then you can't.
And then you come and bring it to South
it,
Africa. How is that going to work for an African child? There's so many things that we can learn, that we can implement even in our own country. I mean, that can grow a young mind.
Okay.
To challenge them. So, app, how to create an app in high school. Why are we not learning that? Why are we still learning about stuff like, Jan van Riebeck? Like, what am I going to do with knowing who Jan van Riebeck was?
So, it comes to a point where, because when you are speaking about the system of education, you are speaking about politics. What do you say about the politics of South Africa, if that is the case, if you are saying that?
For me, I know this is going to be very controversial.
Okay, I like that.
Say it
That's why I invited you. Okay.
Sometimes I feel like the country needs a dictator.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel that way. Because we need a dictator, someone who's not going to consult 50,000 people and come with a decision that's grey.
Okay.
And that's not going to make much change.
All right.
And then you go to the elections and then you make me promises, and then come time to implement, then we're implementing, isn't this as Kulumango 1994 that were not implemented.
Okay.
And South Africa is very good with creating policies, I must say. We create some of the nicest policies in writing. Come time to implement.
So are you saying we need a flavor of Mandela? A flavor of Mugabe in our country? Somebody who's going to be that type of a leader, that you love to hate.
Sometimes when I use an example, I say, we need someone who loves South Africa.
Okay.
Someone who loves South Africa, like Hitler loved Germany.
Germany, yeah.
Where he was like, I'm ready to go to war for this country to have power.
So we need people who are so zealous about their country that they are prepared to do anything. If it means changing education, they must do it. If it means fighting corruption, they must do it.
Yes, if it means chasing every single body out of parliament and starting afresh, they're ready to do that. Someone who's willing to make unpopular decisions. Someone who's gonna say, you know what, this is nonsense. I'm not willing to put up with this. Cut.
Does it mean that you don't believe in democracy?
I do believe in democracy, but I don't believe in too much of anything.
Okay.
So we've got too much democracy that doesn't make sense at the end of the day, because people have too many rights, but none. My responsibilities. Who takes responsibilities for things that don't go right in the country? So if locals, we have a policy in 1994 and it's not implemented until 2000, who takes responsibility for that? Instead, we focus on the democratic right of everyone to look beautiful and be happy. And some things don't need democracy, Gakul. I'm sorry to say this, because in a country with so much crime, for example, why would you still want to be democratic about crime?
Okay.
Why would we want to massage criminals and make them feel like, you're part of us? Let's massage you into society if they're not willing to play their part. I'm saying you're a criminal. You want to be incorporated back into society. You have a responsibility to prove to me as a government that you want to be back in society. You must prove it to me. I shouldn't be massaging your feelings because you have a right as well. Doesn't make sense to me.
So do you believe that some officials, I wouldn't say our government is corrupt, corruption. We hear the words, at least I'm happy, a radio personality, you speak about these things all the time, but the stage light is on you. Do you believe that in South Africa we have corruption? Do you believe in that South Africa our government is corrupt or people are corrupt? What do you believe is the source of corruption? Who is corrupt?
Not just South Africa, but Africa as a whole. And it worries me because it paints a stigma of black leaders not being able to lead, of African leaders not being able to lead. But I always say, the problem is, I understand why we have so much corruption sometimes, because when you take someone who's never had nothing,
okay,
and you give them something in abundance, you understand, it's bound to cause problems.
Okay.
So everything, I believe, must happen in transition.
Right.
So the time Sinigwa power, I do feel like it should have been more transitional as opposed to abrupt.
You think this 24 years, whatever, is
no? I think
still...
that they shouldn't have been even. It's where we didn't have our own land, our own things.
Okay.
This is our country. This is our continent. Mm-hmm. White people should have never even had so much of a say, and that's where the problem started.
Okay.
Suddenly, they're putting us into their system. You understand?
Right.
So now we're following their system of doing things, and we're neglecting our own. And now when they introduce us into their system, it's going to be a problem because it's not ours.
Now, are you saying you are a young person? Are young people ready to take over South Africa? Do you see or do you feel that young people are at a stage where we can say, Jacinta, here is a country, young people are energetic. They want to say, they say, when you do things, you must count us in. Here's a young person. What do you say about young people these days? Are they ready to lead?
That's a tough one. Because I think there are young people who are more than capable of leading this country to greatness. But they get ignored because there's a certain crop of young people that I think we're breeding as a country, because I think that's the type that we want to see at the forefront.
Okay.
There's so many selfless young people that do a lot of good things that would probably even be difficult to corrupt.
Okay.
But those are overlooked because kuthandwa laba who are going to be falling into the system
of corruption.
Yes.
So you are saying we are breeding the birds of the same. If we see that Jacinta is going to be good, radical, change things, we put her aside.
Yes.
And we take the princesses who are going to say, yes.
Who are going to go to clubs and drink and pop champagne and live a life and post and flash. And I think we're creating a very materialistic culture of young people, and those are becoming the people that young people are aspiring to be.
Okay.
So young people now are not looking to work hard to get to places, because why would I want to work hard when I can meet a rich somebody? Sankuluma is a young lady.
Okay.
When I can meet a rich somebody and they can sponsor my life. Like why? Like honestly, why would a young person want to put themselves through that? Because I need to really we aspire for the Instagram life.
Yes.
So that's the life that young people are being sold. The fame, the flashy life. That's the thing we're promoting on TV, newspapers. That's the thing that we're promoting as a country. Yeah. And I say we because our media is playing along. Our TV is playing along.
Right.
Our everything is about painting a life of guns and violence. Whereas now, there's always fights. There's always someone shooting someone. That's the life that we're painting for a young South African. So.
But Jacinta, you are a person on the pedestal who can say things. And I think somehow God has allowed you an opportunity to say things. and people do things that you say. Why don't you be a voice of reason and say things that are supposed to say, and say to the right people, so that you bring that radical change that we hear about in Tsietsi Mashinini, that we hear about in young Steve Biko, we hear about in young Anthony Lembede, we hear about in young Nelson Mandela growing up, 25, 26 years, 18 years, Lembede saying, I am going to be standing up for my country. What is retarding?
You know what the problem is, Mfundisi, is that it's very difficult to fight a system.
Okay.
Especially if I believe I'm powerless, but I do what I can to do what I can. And once you start fighting the system, the way I'm so outspoken, then they're going to look for...
Let me disturb you. It's for the first time I hear you saying you are powerless. I thought...
Yes, I am.
I thought you were...
No, Mfundisi, not really. I am powerless because the system is much bigger than me, much bigger than me. And I feel like once you start becoming vocal like me, I'm going to make a mistake in life. And just say, for example, I do something wrong.
Right.
I don't know. Anything that's a mistake in life. I go and I drink. I don't drink, but let's say, for example, I drink. Yeah. And then that one opportunity where I make a mistake. Is going to be used to crush everything I've ever said. So it doesn't become about the message behind what I'm saying. It becomes about me as Jacinta. And I've witnessed this with newspapers, as I told you. After my message, my video, suddenly it became about Jacinta being cahoots with certain politicians. And I'm like, but akekho umuntu mina ngithi mhlambe umuntu wami or whatever. I talk to everyone to talk to. If ngizoshutha la Mfundisi uyazi nawe mangifuna ukushuta mangazwani wena nosibani bayi angihlangene mina nalokho, it's none of my business. But they find a way of tainting your reputation because they want to drag you so that you feel Guti, you can't fight the system.
Okay, I hear you. And after making that video, that was very interesting. It went wayward. I must say that was one of the best videos that we have done. Speaking from the heart, speaking a good direction. Because let me tell you, in this country, we are fighting corruption. Yeah. Fortunately, I'm also a member of the legislature. Yes, and nobody's going to bring me down because I'm fighting corruption. Yes. Today, I was watching at a hospital where they are wheeling out a lady who has been working hard in one of the hospitals. But in particular, last week I saw one from one lady that I knew from Edendale Hospital, a hard worker mom. And she's being wheeled out because she has been killed by COVID-19. And I see nurses are doing a guard of honor. And they are all in tears. And guess what? There are people out there who still eat the money of the PPEs, and so that those people are going to suffer every day. And I don't believe, Jacinta, that we need to be quiet. We need to speak. We cannot be made to be afraid just because somebody is not going. Because you are not a politician. It's not like next time they are not going to vote for you and whatever. So you need to be a voice of reason. Here is an opportunity to speak for young people. You are sitting in front of Premier province or any other province. You are given an opportunity. Here is a hot seat. Talk to this Premier. Speak for young people. Or you have to speak and confront the president of this country. Speak for young people. What would you say?
As a young person in the country, I can honestly say for the first time, I feel so hopeless. When I think about the future, and it's not a feeling that I enjoy, especially because I've got children, and if I'm feeling hopeless, I see nothing for them in the future. It worries me the way politicians have become so self-centered. It's become so much about me and me and me. And I asked this on Facebook a couple of days ago. What happened to the leaders who wanted to leave behind a legacy? Wow. Who said, I am so-and-so, and when I leave this place, I want to see a hall, I want to see a road, I want to see this place developed. What happened to those people? Why is it now about instant gratification? I must eat now. I must suta now. Why don't you want to leave something behind where even when you're gone for centuries and ages, people will say, Steve Biko,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
that man did this, and where we still want to talk about, where we still want to celebrate, or we don't even like celebrating important days anymore, like Youth Day, June 16. It's lost its meaning, because what is Youth Day to a young person who's got nothing to look forward to?
Wow.
Why are we not employed? Why are you not creating opportunities? Imali zama PEE or PPEs. Was there no way of distributing the wealth so much so that as many young people in different areas benefit as much as possible?
Yeah.
Even if you give 10 PPEs to Abantu Base Ward 15,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and make sure it's so even. How does a person be happy with getting 200 million in your bank account?
Just one person.
Just one person. Then what happens to you? Do you get excited when you get that 200 million? Do you feel the nation that you're destroying, you're not just destroying it for yourself, but there's children coming up behind you, and they have nothing left when you've destroyed.
young people. You come and talk to the church because we have to elevate. We have come to a stage when after COVID, it will be called it's a life after, and
Yes.
it's a new beginning for everybody. I want to tell you there at home, you may have been tested positive today. Rest assured, it's not the end of the world. You are not going to die. Be amongst those people who are going to be the remnant who are saying, I'm not going to die, but I'm going to live so that I can testify about the good life in the land of the living. I want to wish you well, even on this day. I wish you well with you and your family. Do not worry about unyaga or nagel. Unyaga or nagale. Awukapheli unyaga. There is still something that God can do for you. Let us hold upon hope. Here is a young person here, Jacinta. She has made some advice to you. You can go into her Facebook inbox. Ladies, go to inbox of this lady and begin to talk to her. And I believe if we have many young Jacintas out there, we can change a lot of things outside. I want to thank you very much and for affording us an opportunity to come and talk to you and putting you into this spotlight. And I know people are still going to comment. And if they comment too much, I'm going to invite you again to be answerable about the things that you have said. God bless
Always.
you. We love you very much. Have a good time. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Remember, on the 9th, it's Women's Day. Let us celebrate our women, pamper them, and do whatever we can to show them that we love them. God bless you.